each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the holy grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
More. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And that move came out in that line came out in the 70s, but it still applies today. But today we're going to learn more in depth about how war is propaganda, and that propaganda is weaponized information. So, Annette, how do we de-weaponize information? This is one of the reasons you started your blog.
De-weaponize information. Oh my God, that's a huge subject because information has become weaponized.
That's right.
In ways that go beyond the imagination. It's subtle. It's in your face. I do want to go back to just take one step back because this kind of plays into that question in changing the construct and rising above all of this. Can we use the soul contract revocations to read for civilizations, nations, planets?
Yes.
Because a lot of us have come here to change this paradigm, to take this planet back. So taking the readings from ourselves and our lives and our constructs, how can we take that to the next level, to reading for civilizations, nations, and planets to change the world?
So the first thing is getting some echo from you.
Oh.
The first thing is to understand that for contract revocations to work on the bigger scale, the emanation of energy has to have your full soul frequency connected to a frequency of this planet. That's the Earth. So rooting and grounding your expression, and then creating a companionship with the Earth so that you have your direct line of communication. Like, you got the telephone number to Earth, you're going to use it. You're not going to call for a booty call, okay? You're calling for a directed purpose. You're not a sales call, hey, Earth, here's my prayers, okay? You're not, again, you've got to find a way to connect to that planet because the planet already understands potentials. And when you come to the planet with your prayer potential, you are showing the planet from your limited point of view how to change and maximize all potentials for this world. And when you understand that that is what your revocation is doing, assisting the Earth in the mass calculation of all potentials so all resolutions can exist, that is her function as a celestial being, surface, subsurface, and astral. So take away the manifest needs of changing the government and seeing them, all the cabal doing the perp walk, and you see this planet as a mind that is calculating all potentials. And that prayer line that you are giving helps her calculate refined potentials with your point of view a part of it.
Okay, I want to make a couple of points here and also have you expand on something. From my perspective and my experience, we are the living cells of the Earth's body. We are one. She is us. We are her. When it comes right down to it.
Depending on what soul you are.
Well, okay. But when we're connected, though, we have that ability to become one with the planet. And from my perspective, many of the living cells on her body have turned cancerous. And that's kind of the problem that's going on, is healing.
That's still judgment. A cancer is judgment. Because
it's a metaphor.
I get it, but we're cutting hairs with the nature of your question.
It's a metaphor I'm using, okay, and that's kind of how I've gotten to see life, as a metaphor. Did I talk to you about Trump being the trumpet?
Right.
You know, what a better wake-up call than a trumpet. So yeah. I see us as being, you know, there's a lot of people healing right now, and healing that cancerous, that cancer metaphor. I kind of lost my train of thought there. I was on a roll. But yeah, it's connecting with her. It's getting that connection back. In war and propaganda, sex, drugs, rock and roll, vaccines, medications, distractions galore have served to separate us from the planet that we live on. Not to mention the fact they're herding everybody into cities where they're living in concrete jungles. And it seems, you know, I remember when I used to live in the Los Angeles concrete jungle, right there near Hollywood, drove me to suicide. I didn't, obviously I'm still here, but.
And that was also in the 70s, where the era was completely different too.
Yeah, things have
very
changed.
Different era of time than it is today.
Things have changed a lot in these realms.
So what you were saying before is how the spirit comes into the DNA skin suit. And because there are so many star seeds, not all the skin suits operate to the same light vehicle. It's like trying to put a Chinese driver in New York traffic with a giant car. Unfortunately, you are going to have the stereotype. Okay, what happens? You get the bull in the china closet. Okay? Or you're going to have something else. You're going to have a very aggressive person in a passive body, which is then creating passive aggressiveness. So not all souls are meant to be in human bodies. That's why we have whales, dolphins, and all these other things that go out and exist there. The human body has been technologically refined so much that it is on purpose funneling certain types of souls into it. Ones that have great power and are looking for a skin suit that can give a vastly rich 7-color experience with the potential of 8-color experience, full precognition through all lifetimes. When a being has full precognition through all lifetimes and is still able to go through the birth canal of forgetting and remembering, they achieve a different form of immortality that allows them to go through the rapid raising of densities to see themselves in the law of one, as the 27 trillion cells that they are, that is a universe in a universe of universes. Cricket. As everyone is contemplating there.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. She got wowed.
Those wow comments, Andrew.
Yeah, it's like this, what you call the dream catcher. When you look at it, it looks like this. So we are living in this human consciousness powered machinery so basically the matrix has using our own consciousness to enslave us. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And through enslavement, they have control.
Yes. And when you look at each points of these, in order to create new reality, we got to bring all the teachers together. So all the master teachers, and this is big. Like, it's not that just this circle, but it goes in all dimensions, infinite time. So the teachers of humanity, once they connect to one another, and then they dream a new vision, then we can reframe what is happening and create a new reality. And then through that, go back through this. It's kind of like unwinding. Like, it's like when we look at the Fibonacci sequence, we just unwind and go back into this spiral, and we go out of it. And that's how we can, really go out of this then to becoming our full expression of higher dimensions or beyond those dimensions. And we got to actually create these centers of healing, which is my vision, like 144 of them, more or less, or 144 different dimensions multiplied by each other in many dimensions and form. I would say the temples of ascension, the temples of understanding that has to be created, where teachers that connect they're going to be attracted to a certain area. For example, let's say Andrew would like to go to Costa Rica because that's going to be a center of where he's going to be bringing together people that are at the same vibrational frequency as his, thus dreaming new reality with his vision and understanding to see where he can connect the dots of these dream catcher, basically. And then we all connect in our own ways, and once we connect all that, then together we can lift it in harmony. It's an effort, like when a car is there and a child is under the car, and you're gonna lift it. You know, if it's just a mother, it can tap into the divine power and do it. But in this thing that we are all, every one of the teachers has to together lift that to save this child, which is our consciousness and the planet and everything that's connected.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that brings
Beautifully put.
Brings me to a question. You know, and it also falls back on the distractions of war and everything going on there. And, you know, God knows this has been a discussion for years now, is the separation of densities.
The separation of densities is the bifurcation, as many other terminologies through hundreds of different industries. It's so prevalent that it is as common as people learning 1 + 1 is 2. When kids go through the separation of densities in high school, who's popular, who's not, who's hierarchical order, who's not. In this reference of what you're taking, it's who's ready to be awake and who's done hitting the snooze button and just calling off of work that day. By not even calling in, they're no call, no show. Because that's what the awakening is going to be. The no call, no shows versus, hey, I showed up early, did extra credit, I've healed myself, I'm ready to get out of here. That's the two polarities. That is the separation of densities. So many of our species are mired in mediocrity that they're hitting the snooze button every couple days or every couple weeks. Or they hit the snooze button every day and watch one YouTube video a month and call themselves spiritual. I know Annette and Ali, you both see people like that everywhere. Because they watch 6 YouTube videos a month, they are the awakening. Bullshit. You just watch 6 YouTube videos a month and that's it.
Can we use womb spaces consciously as proxy wombs?
Yes.
Depressed areas.
Absolutely we can. It's a matter of understanding of connecting the consciousness. So women have a womb, so they can take the image of their own body that is right now and reduce it in age till it is the fetus in their own womb and nurture it and rebirth themselves. That is something that's done through their menstrual cycle every month. Men have a different process. It's more of an external seeking from within. It still achieves the same thing, and then men have their own version of a menstrual cycle. You can then, if you've had children, bring your child into your womb. You can go back into the womb of your mother, as well as to the womb of the next you. There is going to be another you and another you after that. It's your scale and size at which you choose to operate and understand at. So Ali, you understand the past generations, the future generations, and the present generations, and how the wombs of the two sides, present and the past and future, interact with the person in the present.
I have to get translation for that one.
All right, so humanity exists through a bursting process of its previous generations, creates a present generation, and then the present generation passes the torch to a future generation.
Mm-hmm.
Our culture and society does not allow us to see future, but as the fetus in the womb, you are past, present, and future simultaneous. And when you are a birth being, you are still all past, present, and future simultaneous, but you are now in duality.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully said. The way I see it is that there are 13 tribes of men, and there are 13 energetic master bodies, or, you know, I would say the holographic bodies around the planet, and they mix and mingle, and they create all these shapes and forms of energy. And and different races and cultures, or even multidimensional beings and so forth. And we are interconnected. The problem is that these 13 tribes of men have to live in unity and in harmony for this whole reality to be in harmony and unity. If one of these decides, oh, I'm going to go and do my own thing and somehow exert control with other beings that are there, kind of become like a draconian version of the other 13, and creates this reality and hierarchical structure where, you know, you create the money structure. Oh, you work for me, and then you give your soul energy as a result of your work to me, which everybody is basically running after this dollar sign. It's like hanging the carrot in front of every one of us. And that's how it has control. It has killed a lot of beings. That draconian being has killed a lot of beings in different dimensions of time, space, and even in this planetary Earth, it has killed because it has used force as a mean of control, and sword, or the draconian sword. It's more like an axe that they have, that they use. And it has killed many, and as a result has gotten this artificial power in order to exert its power over other 13 races of man, other 12 races. And the only way we really can accept and forgive that part, the other 12 races has to go into complete forgiveness and forgive that part of us that is a divine being, is a creator being, but we have to forgive that atrocity, because as long as we hold to the things that it has done, and it has done horrible, 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 I mean, the worst thing that you can think of, that is it brings so much pain into my pain body and your pain body and everybody's planetary pain body. And we just have to forgive it and let it, it has to go in its point of nullness, or what we call the central galactic void. We have a central galactic sun, and we have a central galactic void. And once the 12 tribes of men decide to send that part of us that become draconian to the central galactic void, that part can heal itself and harmonize itself to become first the part of the central galactic void. It becomes the void, and then it can be brought back into our co-creation, in a sense that we got to nurture that part of ourselves to be able to teach it again of how it has to behave in correspondence to other 12 tribes that are there. And it's like a central point, and you got this, you know, this 12 points that are out there. And then it can reintegrate. And if in the future, like in the time is past, present, futures, everything's the same. We are just in an instant, we can experience a new reality and go and create it and live it. And this reality that we decided to become enslaved, Andrew will basically, through the knowledge and him being the galactic historian, holds this knowledge within himself to deal with that part, that in a way that is appropriate. And that's the only thing that Andrew, he's the only individual being as a soul signature being that can hold that memory in its respective place. Nobody else can do that. Nobody else.
And with that memory of all perspectives throughout all timelines and dimensions, I was able to connect to the fetus in every womb that I've been in this world and 20,000 others. And that is where all of that knowledge is stored, all memories of all the deeds both done, both good and bad. The list that, you know, grandfather, you know, Christmas has been checking twice who's been naughty and nice. But it isn't about shame, blame, or guilt, or judgment, or that. It's ultimately, is karma resolved to zero? And I represent the uncooked books.
The uncooked books.
Exactly, the uncooked books.
Black budget.
Exactly. I got all the black budgets, got everyone's signatures, all the tacit consents they used.
Well, you know, it's interesting. One of the things I've observed is how much order there really is to turning this whole situation around. You know, souls have come in with some incredible skills and abilities, and it's like everybody's brought a piece of the puzzle in. You know, it's and so many people who you don't see on the internet, we never see or hear of, are out there walking these realms, bringing their piece into their local communities. And I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot online, you know, with the keyboard warriors reaching out to the world. And I know I'm one of them. I'm totally guilty of this, is kind of overseeing or neglecting having our boots on the ground in our own community and making a difference there, getting the word out there. You know, but everybody, you know, Andrew, and, you know, you just look around at the Andrews, the Abraham Hicks, and then all the way down to, you know, just the little old lady working at the school teaching the kids and what she's bringing into that generation from her experience, which is something that's also been lost, is generational storytelling. But where everybody's bringing a piece into the puzzle. And I've observed some very powerful souls working in complete obscurity, doing some major work, either, you know, on the archonic grid, or, you know, you hear some of these people talk and you're like, you're really, whoa, you've got a good job. I mean, it's amazing some of the work that's being taken care of by individuals, and it's just the divine kind of transformation that's going on right now is incredible. And, you know, people and the work that you've brought to the collective, Andrew, has been absolutely incredible. I've I watched you all through 2013, and a lot of us did, and you brought some very new concepts, some stuff that was way out there. But over the last, it's been almost 4 years now. You know, in the last couple years, I've been going, Andrew talked about that. Now it's unfolding.
Long before it became the colloquial now.
Exactly. And so, yeah, just
before there was even the term Babylonian money magic curse, I had already described it, you know, on and so on and so on. Something that took 5 years of regurgitation in the industry to create another term that they thought they were coining. It had already been done. And there was somebody that had done it before me, a previous generation before that. I just did it in a form that was combining knowledge, wisdom, the Akashic record, and the way I was transmitting the information. That is what hit so many people. Like, you were there when it hit, and it went everywhere. It went from who is he to holy shit.
You went to rock star status in like 60 days or less. It was incredible watching that whole and you know, kind of being on the sidelines, 1 degree of separation apart. It was quite the ride for everybody. You know, those of us in the audience rode right along with you. Mm-hmm. And you know, what's been you know, one of the things I've found interesting over the last couple years is watching the cosmic disclosure conversation and what's being talked about there. You know, I hear people talk about, well, this full disclosure process is just another distraction. No, it's not. I mean, for some it may be, but there's a lot of people out there just waking up who aren't spiritually connected yet and really haven't gone through that awakening, and running into information like this triggers activations in people.
Or deactivations.
Or deactivations.
Weaponized information.
can you talk about weaponized information just a little bit for us?
So I want to ask Ali his point of view on weaponized information, and I'm going to add a special, let's just say, stinger to some of current weaponized information.
Yeah, I was just tuning in, and one of the things that just came out was regarding Annette, and the first thing that came out is that her color is purple, what she's wearing right now, and the violet flame, and she's been holding the vision for this dream that we have, which is the beauty, harmony, love, and the planetary vision that we have, and it's not only planetary, it's galactic vision, because the macrocosm, macrocosm are all connected. So in your hand and in your vision, you're always, although there was a desert around you and this wasn't happening, you were always holding that vision, and you were walking by this beach where you're holding that and cultivating it and making sure in one of these lifetimes or in these journeys that we have, this thing that you're holding is going to externalize so that you can see it all around you.
All life is sacred.
Yes.
All life.
Yeah. And it's happening, the more of us that hold this vision, we're going to create a new reality. And I know if you can translate that, Andrew, for me, the thing we talked about, stinger vision, I understood the externalities of it, but I need to go into maybe.
So one of the things Ali does, he realizes I take a tremendous chunk of information and then distill it into a synopsis. And then he takes that synopsis and able to distill it even more. That's his special little function. So when two beings like us come together, there's an unseen conversation that's going on where all the guides and guardians are like, did you give this book and this book and this book of information? And he may have one book translated another way, and I'm using another book translated another way, but we're refining it into English. So the nature of the question is weaponized information and how to de-weaponize information, right. Recognizing it and nullifying it.
Yeah. There is two types of information. The first type of information, which is the primal type of information, comes from the consciousness and from the heart, and it's the knowingness of how things are done from within yourself, which are elders and ancients and ancestors and the natives in different areas, the Peruvians, the Mayans, and the ancient Indians and the mystics have that information, and they know how to harness it, and they are in control, full control of their reality, in a sense of serving to hold that information of knowingness. And that information is sacred because it has existed since the beginning of creation. There is another type of information which is a manufactured information based on the matrix, like how to do tax accounting, as boring as that. and that is weaponized information. Simply put.
Hollow Earth, the flat Earth theory, another piece of weaponized information. Yeah, we got some hotheads that are running because it's its own mind virus. And weaponized information can be so subtle at how it triggers you.
Oh, you know what's interesting is I had always encountered, and I went down that rabbit hole just like most of us did. Okay, well, what's this all about? And
next thing you know, you're hooked up and slapping your arm, going, "Where's the rest of my flat Earth shot?"
Oh my God! Well, but it really it comes back to, wait a minute, we're in a holographic reality here.
Right. Omnidirectional hologram, not flat hologram.
And I do vortex meditations. My light body activation, kind of catapulted me into a completely different view of this reality and a completely different physical experience of it as well. I do use powerful sacred geometry meditations, and for 4 years now, or 5 years now, ever since this activation, my reality, I don't sit still anymore. you know, my reality moves and it flows with me. I can stand on what used to be, now, whenever I stand on what used to be solid ground, it's kind of rocking and flowing. It's got motion to it. I never experienced that before.
It's its own beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, from my perspective, we don't live on a globe or flat Earth. It's a realm. It's a consciousness realm, and it shapes itself to what our perceptions, our beliefs, our emotions, and you know, from my perspective, we really barely have a kindergartner's understanding or comprehension of the realm that we live in because of the programming and the social conditioning and just all the crap we take in as we're growing up, sucking on the television tube. You know, I mean, that's our bottle. I grew up watching Mickey Mouse and, you know, all that stuff. That was my babysitter. And
I call that the nipple of instant gratification.
Well, dude, and I was sitting here a couple of weeks ago going, and I quit watching TV when I moved to Hawaii. I couldn't afford cable, and I had it for 2 months and wasn't watching TV. I was online doing my blog. And that's when I quit watching television. But a couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know, I still can't get away from that screen. And that's because I'm plugged in doing my blog, you know, and that's my service, my mission, yada, yada, yada. And I do consider it very important. But still, I had the realization that even though I've gone through all this spiritual growth, I don't watch TV anymore, I'm still plugged into this damn television on one level or another. And that I have been for my entire life.
And that's been weaponized against you over a long period of time. And you are trying your damnedest and hardest to get off the addiction of it.
Yes.
Okay? And that's where so many people who come to YouTube to learn make the biggest mistake. They end up being keyboard warriors who just watch videos and make a claim to themselves. And then there are others who come and watch live shows, and others that do the practice, and others that take the extra credit to become their own self-illuminated master. Just as the way Ali has done, Annette has done, I have done, each in their own way, no one greater than the other, for we are all part of one. We are all the law of one. Until such a time in 8-color time, we learn of the law of 2, how twin flames come together, why they're even created. We as a species are just coming to understand the law of 1. Let's not worry about the law of 2 yet. For within the law of 1, we can find the one that is for us, as well as the point of view that is for us in this moment of now to learn the greatest good.
Can I mention something about weaponized information?
Yes.
Twin flame.
Oh, yeah.
That shit is so fucking weaponized, misunderstood, minimized, down to, oh, I found my soulmate. Mm-hmm. My recent experiences on that is, oh my freaking God. It is so expansive, so complicated. Some of us have so many.
Thousands of soul flames. It is not unique.
No. And they serve, and it doesn't, just because someone's a soulmate doesn't mean they're your love soulmate.
Of this lifetime.
It can be your daughter.
Right.
I know somebody who just lost, she just lost her daughter. Her daughter was killed, and then she discovered, oh my God, it was my soulmate.
Yeah.
And now
or your cat.
Yeah. Hello.
Lots of cat women out there. Exactly. They got all their soulmates.
We're closer to our animals than we are to other people. You know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, you know, I mean, so much of the new age information has been weaponized, minimized, inverted, distorted. And that gets real frustrating sometimes. You know, especially and it all goes back to beliefs and the lie that lies in beliefs. And One of my favorite guys in the whole world, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. One of his interviews, he said something that never got away from me. Was that when he was training SEALs back in the 1960s in psychic defense and all this stuff, he basically, one of the first things he taught them was that you have to be able to change your belief systems like you change your pants, depending on the situation that you're confronted with. Belief systems should be and are interchangeable. And that's easier said than done.
I call it the a la carte belief system, that which works for you now. In my online course, Living the Mystical Life Daily, is it about achieving that actual process of having an a la carte belief system? What works for you in the moment is your self-healing, is your self-nurturing. Ali, what do you have to add about the confusion on twin flames? Because this still does relate to war.
Yeah.
War is what kind of confuses all this.
And I always need the translation, so please go. I understand the external. I need the package.
So the whole conduit. Yeah. How does the confusion of human belief of twin flame entangled into the greater process of war as resolution of karma?
Yes. It comes down to the distortion of masculine and feminine polarities on the planet, in which through the millions and billions of years of going through different cycles of where either there was too much masculine or too much feminine, and there were these cycles of energy where you got these warrior types of masculine energy that create massive wars, and at the same time, on the opposite side, it become too much loving and almost unbearable, loving fairy airy tale, or rainbows and those stuff that comes around. Nothing wrong with those, but any two extremities of either divine masculine or divine feminine, it's like there are two points of infinity. Okay, if one becomes larger, it consumes the other, so the other becomes the other part of it, and that's why there's a lot of I would say gender confusion in our society through homosexuality and stuff like that. So what it has caused is that that energy or cycles that we have gone through either created women that are either too masculine or males that are too feminine, and it has created gender distortions. And also it goes into communication of the masculine and feminine. And the way it has been manipulated is through a monetization of sexual energy in our galactic history, in which in India, let's say, in order for a man to become married to a woman, the woman should have provided the house, the car, all the money and everything. It was opposite to some other countries. In some other countries, like Muslim countries, the guy has to take care of every financial thing. And in the Western countries, it's almost half and half. We both take 50% of that. So there's always a super kind of a polarity. There's opposite polarity, and there's something that creates the trinity of, I would say, monetization of sexual energy in one way or another, in which in order for I to love you, you got to take care of me through this money magic system. And if you don't, have the quota based on what Hollywood puts through your mind, that this is the perfect life, if you have this car and this house and these stuff, then you're not meeting your quota. Thus, I'm not going to love you because you're not providing for me. You're not loving me in the physical realms. So the way to really go about is we got to come from the point of our hearts and our loves and destroy pretty much. I know it's really hard, and it's very controversial for a lot of people. I would say the marriage contracts a lot of these marriage contracts that we have in place in the government systems and the way they designed it, put it in these papers that David Wilcock was saying are in legal size. Thus, that creates a law in itself because it's written on a piece of paper that has a specific size that resonates tries to resonate at a truth frequency, but it can't really. The truth is the truth is the truth, So it is vital that we understand that we shouldn't monetize on the love that we have first, and the interaction of that love that comes into physical form in terms of like a sexual relationship, partnership. If it comes from the point of love and understanding in the divine alignment, the divine order of love, then it's allowed and it's beautiful and it's harmonious. And nobody should, a priest, a clergy, I don't care who, shouldn't put a law against two people coming together in unity and love and harmony. And it shouldn't be monetized. It should come from the point of I am that I am, and you are that you are.
And what you just summed up is why twin flames is such a confused subject. Why people don't know how to create relationships, don't know how to learn from their mistakes, because the infrastructure, the system is designed to put self-defeating mechanisms within yourself.
Yes.
I'm going to use this question as a different purpose. And I don't normally answer this question, but there's something funny about the way I'm going to answer this. Is President Trump pushing the cabal? No, he is a mercenary president for hire to all the factions that are driving forward the hologram of control. That is my answer and only answer I will ever give on Trump. He is a mercenary in the hierarchical order waiting for the biggest payout so that the hierarchical runs through nepotism. Now, moving on to a real question.
So basically to sum that up, we have the same girl in a different party dress?
No. The one before him wasn't a mercenary. He was already bought and sold and paid for and had gender already driven. This one is a mercenary that has choice.
Okay.
To take the highest bidder versus all the oligarchs of the world.
Yeah, but how does that serve how will that serve the collective in changing the paradigm, raising the vibration? Kind of, what a lot of us have been fighting for the good fight for so long.
Inevitably, the system will shoot itself in the foot by the highest bidder. That's how it serves us.
In other words, he is the trumpet. He's just a better wake up. Yeah.
Okay. Ignore it as much as you can. Embrace your awakening. Get the sweet grass on your feet. Go and hug a tree. Ignore the Trump.
Lately, that's what I've been doing. I go onto Facebook. I take a look at just all the noise, and I'm just like, see you guys later. I'm going to the beach.
So everyone out there, it's okay to disconnect from the world. It will go on.
Yeah.
It has before and will again.
That's a paradigm that doesn't change.
All right, so I want to do the next question here. Can we read the spiritual soul contract revocations for civilizations, countries, nations, even the planet as a collective? You asked this before. And the name it to claim it said countries and nations. Yes, and I'm going to give an example of that. I, in this ever-present moment, acknowledge myself as a planetary citizen that is not attached to any singular nation-driven ideology or patriotic concept, as a soul civilization, DNA standing light body, nation of one, completely separate of this hologram that's driving forced holograms of light. I, this individual being, make a seed of consciousness, knowledge, and wisdom as part of my contract revocation and invocation to use this seed of energy to grow within the system the separation of my personal densities, so that my nation, my tribe, my clan may also go through the separation of densities. That is their natural, organic, co-creative evolution that is not entangled into the Babylonian money magic system that defines where their love can be, will be, or should be. For could-haves, would-haves, should-haves are for those that are still in shame, blame, or guilt. To make a choice to heal the self is the choice to heal this planet. And when one gets adequate enough at healing themselves and healing the planet, they can heal thousands or millions from a single word or a message that connects to everyone. It is but a choice in a revocation to make it an invocation so that the flow of the mind, body, spirit is grounded within this space of change, acknowledging that there is a multidimensional photonic being of light that is you and every other sentient being on this world, that all should be sharing the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. It's as easy as flow, one step away. It is just choice.
Something I'd like to bring up about the contract revocations, and you know, when I first started reading them, they were written by you, these long, eloquent, I mean, detailed, I mean, right to the point, hit every point, you know? And I was really kind of self-conscious about writing my own, you know, what I was going to leave out. I wasn't doing it right, you know, whatever. And, you know, one of the things I've learned is, you know, because I started just kind of like spitting out verbal contract revocations when I would run into a situation that, you know, just I didn't feel right about, or I wanted to change, or whatever. And
or that shopping cart was haunted.
Yeah, we have a lot of creative expression that can be used in these. They don't have to be something that's like rigid and structured. I mean, it can be something you just create in the moment. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as long as it's done from the heart space, it has impact. It can shift things. And I think it's just, this is something that I'd just like to share with people. And, you know, and another thing, okay, we've got the contract. How do we shift things? How do we impact our reality bubble? I see 3 really important tools: prayer, meditation, and contract revocations are all very powerful, but they serve different purposes and they have a different form. And this is something that you and I, Andrew, have discussed privately, is the difference between meditation and prayer. And that's something I'd like for you to share with the audience, because it really, I spent a lot of time thinking about this and observing, and you're dead on. You know, we're taught meditate once a day, and my meditation is still important to me. I do that. But the prayer adds another dimension to the whole experience.
Prayer is how we make companionships with the divine source that is working through us all. Prayer requires no esoteric practice or religion. It only requires the belief in the self. Prayer has no words or a million words. Prayer is what you do to make action into wisdom. The action of giving prayers is to share with the divine source that is there. That divine source need no identity. Prayer is once again how we make connections and companionships to our guides, guardians, and source beings that are working with us. Meditation is not that. Meditation is to turn off the external world and to engage our precognitive functions of knowingness to expand our awareness, retract our awareness, to heal ourselves, or to make ourselves in the moment more capable by healing our internal bodies, bringing health and wellness in. Can one make a prayer meditation? Absolutely. But it still requires strategical forethought. And what I had come up with are what's called meditation teachings, or meta teachings, where all the teachings are combined into a prayer format that you read out loud and record, and then you are laying down or sitting and hearing your own voice in the fullness of its power, giving you the prayer and meditation while you are in observance of yourself in prayer and meditation, achieving the multidimensional self. But that requires a greater strategy in the willingness to co-create with your own self. So Ali, what is your view on the difference between prayer and meditation?
Thank you for sending that ahead of time. I'd like you send that information internally this time. So they say living in a prayer, that song, because prayer itself has been distorted through the religious ideologies that we have. And the externalization of prayer in terms of, I'm praying to this higher being to receive something out of this external world and create these external gods, to pray to them to receive good luck or good crops or stuff like that. And the true prayer is living in the prayer, in a sense that the prayer is living in divine alignment with your true essence of who you are. As long as you are living in that divine essence and your actions and everything that you project from that point is in alignment with that divine essence, you are the living prayer walking among us. And wherever you go, you magnetize things in the divine order of creation.
That was beautiful. Very beautiful.
And meditation?
And meditation is hierarchical than the store that some of the schools, they say, you got to take this for 1 year and take 2 years of this and then take 3 years of this, and that will give you this, this degree and this marker and, these medals and stuff like that. And meditation, the understanding of truth of who you are, and the realization of that is instantaneous. There is no meditation to get there. You can live in the meditation by every action that you do. And I understand that we gotta meditate to disassociate from the matrix and sit by ourselves to quiet our minds to go connect to our essence. And that part is meditation, which connects us to our own essence.
Beautifully put. Once again, prayer is that way we get that connection to our internal and divine sources. Meditation is, again, a separation that brings a more clarity into what you already believe in.
For myself, meditation also encompasses connecting to the realm that I live on, connecting to the sentience of the planet, connecting to the sun, the galactic core, other planets, my ancestors, the ancestors of the land, which can be done through prayer too. That goes both ways there. But for what I've observed since we had this conversation is, how I use meditation more for controlling the energies that are moving through my light body and my Taurus, and connecting to the realm, and connecting to the sun and other things, when prayer is much more personal with the divine, with the ancestors, with talking to the realm that I live in, talking to the construct, and then, watching it respond. The realm that we live in will respond back to us when we participate with it, when we connect with it. And so, for myself, prayer, meditation, and contract revocations all are tools which are serving a purpose to help me navigate these realms, to learn to create the reality I want, to be a reality generator and generating the reality and the outcomes I desire, instead of, just letting everything go on some kind of crazy autopilot and letting it unfold on its own, which can lead to some really funky places sometimes. Down some
Well
wells.
put. Well put. Well put. That's some poetic words there. Poetic words of experience. We just have a few minutes left in the show. So both of you, why don't you give ways that people can connect with you? So because at the end here, we're just going to do a quick clearing ceremony because we brought up a lot of war subjects.
For me, my blog is ascendingstarseed.wordpress.com. I can also be contacted on Facebook at Annette O'Toole, and that's Otoole without an apostrophe. Facebook changed my last name, so but yeah, you can reach me on Facebook as well. And I'm also I invite you to come over and see the Galactic History discussion page. I'm the senior moderator there as well.
Ali?
Yes, if you want to get connected with me, we are always, remember, we are connected interdimensionally. The fastest thing you can get to me is telepathy. You're going to your heart and say, I want to connect to your essence. And I do get messages and I can communicate directly with you that way. If you want to get through the matrix and through this computer world that we live in, go to osirisra.com, OSIRISRA.com. Okay.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. So we're going to do a little bit of a clearing energy. So one thing that Ali and I do really well is when we work in this higher dimensional realms, we're able to clear energies very fast. So both Ali and I are going to take a couple minutes here and help people go through a clearing process. So I'm going to start, and then I'm going to pass it off to Ali. So we, in this ever-present moment, as a community of audience members who have come here to learn, to come here to expand, we acknowledge the greater hold of the law of one. We acknowledge that everyone is one, even those that are asleep in this moment of now. We bring the highest form of heart-based love frequency to all that are here live, past, present, and future. For this show is to be stored in an archive that will be held in a pristine format, so all that come to it as seekers of knowledge may see it for what it is, a revelation of truth that is showing the many different scales of understanding who, what, when, and where, and why we incarnated in this world full of color, charge, and polarity. We now neutralize color, charge, and polarity so that the seekers of knowledge that come to this place of space-time may have a sanctuary to learn. We are clearing frequencies at a high level. All of our guides and guardians are here in the unseen world with their brushes, their brooms, going into the corners, removing the spiritual cobwebs that may hide lurking presences. The spiritual mops are out, and we are doing the proverbial spring cleaning, removing any negative entity or frequency that is hidden in any of our dream worlds, past, present, or future, that is not a part of our divine co-creative will. We bring the terms equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order as our definition of boundaries, so we may adhere in love through the law of one. Right, Ali?
Yes. As we sit together in this remembrance of the unity that we have in all time dimensions of time, space, in the intergalactic realms of unrealms, and between the realms in those ever divine presence of the void space, we sit in unity and we declare our independence from the matrix that has held us captive in eternal time. Thus we claim the infinite I am presence of who we are, which is, you can repeat 3 times, I am infinite love, I am infinite love, I am infinite love. And not only do it with your words, but feel it with your consciousness and bring that energy out and connect not only with yourself, but with your family members. And really feel it, feel that connection with all your family members, your brothers, your sisters, your sons and daughters, your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors. Feel the unity and see the bigger family of the family that we are all different families, and we are interconnected in the ever divine presence of I Am with all the families, and the neighbors that we have, they're all our families. Everybody is our family, and connected to countries and regions that have a different color and different race and different shapes and forms. And we connect to those, the native, the South Americans, the Peruvians, the Asians, different races that come to experience this with us, and really feel that and really connect to everybody. People from Russia, from England, from UK, different names, Scotland. Then we go to Egypt and connect to those areas. And I'll let you go and scan and connect. And then we connect slowly with the ETs, even bring the people that are starseed, connect with their star family in all dimensions of time, space, and connect and open up a communication channel in which to bring your knowledge at this specific time to this planet so we can co-create this new dream that we have. And there's an unseen part of you that I'm not going to even talk about it, but let that unseen hold that vision in eternal time, space. Amen. And I'll give you 3 minutes to go into the unseen and do the unseen work that is not even, cannot describe by me. Let me go over there. And once you're done, say, so it is 3 times.
So it is. So it is. So it is. So it is. I want to thank everybody for this show. This is a powerful webinar that we've done. So if you want to check out the membership site on andrewbartzis.com, head on over there. If you're interested in talking about taking the 6-week course, you can also go to andrewbartzis.com and look up Living the Mystical Life Daily. All you got to do is put an email in, and you'll get a bunch of videos that tells you all about the course with some tools, tips, and techniques for you to take yourself to the next level. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll be back with another webcast shortly. Look in your emails.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Annette. Bye.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, awesome.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvised. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello. Let's create. Let's co-create. And let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You could make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.